Hey guys, Sharp Midget here. I'm going to be doing a review, initial review on this Tech steel trigger set for the MSK or the ACR. So I just got the set. I'm going to show you how to install it, and I will test it before and after to see if there's a difference at all with cycling or anything. So these are supposed to be an exact copy of the not the Tech, the WeTech. So it should fit in as a drop-in and work. It is steel, so we'll see. I do know I've talked to somebody that had this exact set, and it works in his ACR fine. So hopefully this set is exactly like his, and it's not off by a little bit. So let's go ahead and open it up. The package, that is. I'll show you how to take the ACR apart. We'll get some scissors here. Rather some wire cutters, because Tech, they have theirs sealed. Actually, it's not sealed. My Tech steel bolt was sealed, the package. So out of the box, the finish looks a little grainy like their bolt, so we'll see how it works. It doesn't look like it's been used at all, so we'll see if it works though. So I'm gonna test it. Yeah, I know the stock latch is broken, gotta order a new one, but let's go and test it first with the stock trigger set. Cycle's pretty good. So the stock trigger set just has issues resetting. So in order to disassemble this rifle, you're going to want to separate the upper and lower receiver by the two lower pins. Sorry, just the one pin. Now the top pin up here and the bottom pin over here. And that's what happens. It splits like that. And then you take this bottom pin out to get the stock out, just to make it easier to work on. So, get that out of the way there. These two pins are retained. So then you take out this screw right here on the top of the trigger box. Very, very simple. Take it out. You want to hold the plate down because it's under spring pressure. Pop that screw out. Put that aside, do not lose that, and then you're going to want to invert it like this and take the plate out, because there are actually springs and detents for the selector, and it's way down deep in there. Once you've done that though, you can twist the selector. This side will pop out, and it only goes in one way too. I'll show you how to put it back together later. And then you take that out, and your springs may pop out. My springs pop out, but the detents don't. And then your trigger box will just fall out. We'll see the detents will probably fall out too. And the springs. Oh, it's got to be cocked, you see? Got to cock it to be able to get it out. Okay, and then there's one of the springs for the detent, and the other one is in there. So I'm just going to take both of those out. The detents haven't fallen out on me. Okay, so there's your trigger box. Like a PTW, right? So basically, there's just pins here. So you pop this one pin out. There's your hammer spring. Look how worn that is. I'm going to pop out the, you'll have like a brass middle part, but then there's the hammer. I had to modify it to get it to work, actually. This is my second stock set, too. It's junk. WeTech they need to improve their material on the inside. So then you take this out. And basically, essentially, this is just a waste here, or not a waste, but it's basically, I'm going to need the spring, because these are replaced by the Tech, the sear and the trigger. So, basically what you do is you take that spring that you had, and you want to insert it into your Tech sear, or actually rather disconnector, whatever you want to call it. Some people call it either one. Excuse me guys, I'm sick, I think. Then you take either one of these will work. I don't think any of them are thicker. Actually, this one's thicker. It looks like it. I think it's the opposite. Hopefully, we'll see. Nope, the thicker one goes with this. And it may be a tight fit, because this is brand new. Let me go ahead and get something to hammer it down. Pistol grip. So that's a very tight fit. I don't know if that's going to be a problem there, but that's how it comes from the factory as a tight fit. You can see it's going through, but it may take a little working. So that may not be such a bad thing, being tight. It still springs the sear, so you're not, you shouldn't have any issues there, per se. So then you have the trigger springs here on either side. These can be kind of iffy on which way to put them, but the long side goes on the side of the trigger. So I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to let you look at that for a second, just so that you're not super confused. Okay, so that's how it goes. And then you drop this into your trigger box. It slides on down, and you're going to have to, it'll spring, and then you pop your pin in, and I think both of the pins are the same. Yeah, so you pop that in, and you want to examine. See, the trigger springs hit the receiver inside of there, so you want to kind of push them to the side just so they don't slip through, and then you can pull the trigger slightly. Don't pull it up a whole lot, because then you can bend the springs and jack up the springs, but it's going to return like it's supposed to, and then the sear returns too. So then you take your hammer spring, and then you take this, which this may be a tight fit in here as well. If I don't drop it. Okay, so not a tight fit in here. Not a tight fit on the hammer. Okay, that's not bad. I don't know if it's going to be a good thing that that one's tight. Like I said, the sear springs. So this is where it actually becomes an issue. Kind of a hard. Well, actually there. You basically have to pull the trigger and kind of push the hammer down and line it up. And as you can see, I've done this multiple times. So it went fine. So then I cock the hammer back, it resets. Trigger pull is long, but it fires. So let's go ahead and put it together and see how it works. I did not mention this yet, but the top of my hammer, I sanded down because a lot of people well, actually, there's not a whole lot of, this is my second set, so a lot of people most people have to sand this down and sand the bottom of the bolt down to get it to be smooth, so I did that, but we'll see. I may have to do it. Chances are I'll have to do it with this RI Tech too, but I'm just, doing this video so you guys know how to do this stuff. Yeah, that's right, guys. I'm a tech. Okay, again, you want to have it cocked back, the hammer, when you go to insert it. So you kind of want to put it down in here. You'll figure it out. It's not hard to figure out. Okay, so once you do that, you want to put the selector switch in first. So the long side goes on the left side of the body. If you're pointing it like you're shooting at somebody, the longer side goes on the left side, through the left side. And then you take your smaller portion. It only goes in one side, though. And you have to put it on semi to be able to lock it in. So once you do that, you want to take your springs and your detents and put them in there. If your detents did fall out. Now mine stay in there, so I've never had one fall out. And it's not easy to get your spring down in there. Both of them. Okay, there we go. So you get your springs down in there, and then you put the plate on. You don't have to hold your selector switch anymore, but you have to hold this plate down because it is under spring pressure. You take that screw, put your screw down in there, take your screwdriver, screw it down, thread it down. The screw is steel, so I imagine it wouldn't strip. And this screw's been in here since day one of the rifle. So, trigger pull is long. It will break in, but it stops right there. Whereas with, I like that a lot. See how it stops and there's not a whole play there? I like that a lot. But the trigger sits really far forward, so we'll see how it works. The pull's a little bit longer, so it made me more like a military rather than a competition trigger pull. But I've heard things, break in. Obviously, they do because it's metal on metal and stuff. Physics. So, when you put this together, you want to make sure you don't drop it. Drop the receiver or drop it on the ground and break another stock latch. Okay, so everything's put together. Let's go and test it. It should work fine. Again, it may not cycle as well because the material on the top of the hammer needs broken in probably. So I may need to take my Dremel and sand it off. But this is just first video. I will probably have an update, but this is an initial test. So it seems to cycle pretty well. I actually kind of like the trigger pull. For me, with kind of short fingers, since the trigger sits forward a good bit, it may be annoying, but it should be fine. Let's try full auto. I don't have a full auto sear in here, so I'm not sure if it'll work on full auto. Okay, it does. So then go to semi, and it resets fine and everything. So thank you for watching, guys. If you have any questions, comment below. Again, I got to grab a stock latch, but then I will probably have an update on this trigger set if I have an issue or if I guess if I have an issue, I probably won't update if I don't have an issue. So if I don't update this video, just know it's running good. So see you guys later.